Welcome back. As you recall, I'm here with Stephen and Ashley, and we're discussing their cross-cultural analysis of social values and technological advancement between the United States and the country of India. Now, let's dive into the meat a little bit. We've kind of skated the surface. We've had the appetizer, the entrees now here. Let's talk a little bit. What interesting points, specific to, just deep core analysis did you find? Was there anything that, jumped out to you and stood off the page?
Well, the one thing I really thought was very interesting was the way grocery shopping works in India, where, say, in America, where most likely I would drive to my grocery store. Well, in India, you can actually just walk a few blocks and actually get your groceries there, because technically it's not really much of a distance from your home to the location you're trying to get to.
So the grocery stores are very central. Yes, and Ashley, you touched on this a little bit but before the break. So why do you think that is? What social values prompts the differences between American and Indian, stores? Ashley, your insights?
Probably because they don't have as much cars like we do. We drive places. They like to have things closer to their homes, and so they can just walk there instead of having to take a car to get there.
So the development of the grocery store and the development of the technology associated with shopping, and no Amazon and such as you mentioned, comes with the fact that they don't put as much social value on another piece of technology, transportation and cars. That's really interesting, especially because of, living in America myself. Personally, I know that, cars are, if I didn't have my car, I wouldn't be getting to work each morning. I wouldn't be, making it to school. I wouldn't be, making these documentaries. Thank you, Toyota. You want to cut me a sponsorship deal? Anyways, what did you find about that? The transportation side of things in the Indian social value.
Yeah, so what I found out from my research is that India's transportation is not as high as we see in America. Was talking back to earlier, the grocery stores are at a shorter location from your home. Well, that's basically thinking that they don't need cars or any type of high-tech automobile in order to get to their location. So there's a reason why there's not as much transportation in India as you compare it to America. Where I can just go drive to class, or I can just drive to work or wherever I want to go to. But in India, I can just literally just walk there.
And why is that? Are the villages close-knit communities? Is that the social convention, or is it just the fact that Sam Walton decided he wasn't gonna send the big price, smile, happy face over to India and set up shop over there?
What I'm gonna tell you is just that I think everything what they need for their standard or living is just all in one big urban area, like one big city, we should say. So technically, they really don't need to get a car in order to get to their location, because it's literally just right outside their
So you'd
home.
say they value the kind of togetherness community.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Too, Ashley, in some of the research you've done, and that Americans maybe value more of, I don't know, the convenience, the cheaper prices, the maybe like. Personally, as an American, I'll bargain shop. I'll drive halfway across town to save $20 on a pack of toilet paper. Did you find anything interesting about social values and how far people will go in use of technology, which maybe spread Americans away as a community?
It seems like people in America will drive a lot farther to get something that they need, whereas in India, everything's close by. They don't have a vehicle, so they're not going to drive across town to get something like toilet paper.
Because it's all essentially right there. And interestingly enough, to go along with your research, I actually had a friend from high school, had a crush on her for several years. I'm sure some of you in the audience know exactly who I'm talking about. Had a crush on her for several years, and she actually her parents were from India, and she spent several time and she confirmed a lot of this actually when I told her I was going to be working with a cross-cultural analysis of United States, and it is kind of a community of togetherness. It is a social value of the family. They have their caste system over there. They have a very close-knit community. In America, we don't always value that as much, which means our technology is not necessarily to create a large-scale community for providing everyone's needs. It's more of our large-scale communities. If you notice, Las Vegas, New York, Los Angeles are movie star, shopping centers, districts, and that kind of explains the social value as a, kind of just we want the flashy, we want the big, we want the fast, we want the instant gratification kind of stuff. Did you notice any of that in your comparison of the two country research? Either of you?
I mean, didn't really see so much on that though. I didn't really see so much information about that from my research. But one thing I just really noticed is what India needs more of a drastic need of. Like, if they don't need this, then they're not just gonna go get it. Like, they're not gonna invent things that they don't need.
So they're just gonna they're more of a needs, and America's more of a high class wants. Would you confirm this, Ashley, in kind of what you saw?
Yeah, I'd say America, people just pick on what they want and what they need, but they can get more wants, because in India it's pretty much they just pick up the stuff that they need. They don't have, like, you can't just go out to the store and then buy all like different stuff you need because it's in your village or your community, so you just can't go out and get like a laptop or something. So.
Yeah, very interesting. It's an interesting social value in the kind of technologies that you see in these kind of close-knit communities, as opposed to the fast-paced high society of America. But that's not to say that India is technologically in the dark ages or lacking. Did you notice anything where India maybe has better technology or more advanced because of the value they put on something in the social?
One thing I did notice from India is that they have a lot in their science and technology department. I can see that there's a lot of medical doctors I can notice from India, and that really kind of shocked me a little bit though, because after reading that I can tell that one of the biggest impacts into technology in India is the science department.
So science is like doctors and like the profession. So going into that, let's broaden that a little bit. We'll come back to the doctors a little bit, but let's look at education systems, because I know you two did a little bit of cross-cultural education analysis. What did you find with the technologies and everything related to what the community valued education as, and what education was, how advanced the technology was shown in either America or India?
In India, what I noticed from the research is that the technology that I noticed there from the research is most like what I see here in America, where let's just say that you want to post something online, say for a teacher wants to post something online for a video. Well, from the research that I found is that I saw there was information that is mostly done in India as well, like here in America.
It's the same thing. So you post a video online for your class project on a cross-cultural analysis of United States and India, and some Indian student's going to be posting their video of a cross-cultural analysis of India and the United States.
It's literally the same thing, basically.
Wow, that's very fascinating. It shows that education is still valued, and the use of continuing advancements of technology is still valued by both cultures and both countries, despite the fact that some things might not always be the same. What did you find about the American education system? Actually, look into anything in particular? Any number, maybe the U.S. Department of Education, looking up anything from there?
I noticed like the cost for education is a lot higher in India. Here it's not quite as high, so it seems like you'd have to have like more money to be able to go to school in India, or have a higher caste or family to be able to go there. And here, pretty much anybody can go and you can get assistance and stuff. In India, it doesn't seem like you can.
Really? Can you confirm any of that, Stephen?
Yeah, I can definitely notice it in America, where here, say, for college state tuition is around $6,000, but you're in the first, let's say, semester. But if you go to India, it's way much more. And also, when they're more focused on their education in general, they're really strict on it. I mean, let's just say if you want to do a college sport and you're in America, you would have the available free time to do that. But in India, you don't really have the free time to do extracurricular activities, and because they're so much focused on their education that they don't have the time to do that.
So you see a value more being placed on the schooling and the learning done in education in India, and in America, it's more of developing the total person and the extracurricular. Because I know, like for a fact, in several companies have released information, like Google, for example, will hire you not even based sometimes on the classes you took or the GPA you got, but more of the outside extracurricular experiences. Especially American businesses look more at what you've done outside and what experiences you've had. And that's something interesting to look at. And you don't think that would happen. Sometimes with this, you think, oh my gosh, you get the degree, you get the best, that's who they hire. But sometimes they hire people based on experiences and what comes out of that, which is interesting to see that would be different in India. So do they develop do they have more developed technology for schooling and stuff, like educational systems, practices? Did you look into anything that discusses with like how they conducted, and then comparing that to extracurricular sports and activities in America, how have they developed based on the fact that they seem to be more valued in this country than, your 9 to 5, classroom experience with a standard lecture.
I'd say for the technology, for the education in India, is basically, like I mentioned earlier, similar here in America. Let's say they use like tablets and laptops in the classroom, and which I mostly use here as well in America. So that's one thing I really noticed here with the education in India.
Okay. What about American extracurriculars and stuff?
I think they value extracurricular activities a lot more in India, and they give you more time to be able to go out for sports. So in India, they could give you more homework or have more lectures, more school time. Here you have extra time in the evenings that you could do extracurricular activities.
I remember my extracurricular activities, my days of doing show choir, speech, all the good stuff. Did you do any extracurricular activities when you were in high school?
Mostly
College?
sports.
Sports? Ashley?
Yeah, I did golf, and then I was in band,
Golf. And what'd you play?
the flute.
Oh wow, I have a friend who's in band. He was in the Panther Marching Band for 3 years. He did what was it? I can't remember. French horn, was it? Yeah. Oh, he's a good player. Oh, Mr. Scoots, gotta love him. Anyways, so that's very interesting. What's something else? What's something else interesting? One last. We got a little time for my studio producers telling me one last point. What's something else interesting that you saw between your analysis? We've talked about grocery stores. We've talked about transportation. We've talked about education. What's another point? And I'm sure our studio audience will have some questions for you eventually, but, what's one more point that you noticed when it came to maybe communication? Communication. Let's go with communication. What did you notice the differences between communication technology with maybe a focus on social media as well?
Yeah, what I noticed here in India is that there's also another thing. Also, social media has also been a big factor in India with the whole Facebook, or you say Twitter. And so I say that there's a lot of communication going on in India as well here in America, because there's also a lot of people in India who use smartphones, just like us and here in America.
So it's very similar here. Would you concur with that, Ashley?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty similar in America because we use smartphones and use the internet and things just like they do in India.
And is the Wi-Fi better over in India, do you think?
I believe so, because here,
one constant in the universe. Wherever you go, there will always be worse Wi-Fi. Oh, I tell you. Well, that was a lot of analysis and results, and I'm sure you had, in reading your paper, you have plenty more to discuss, and you have plenty more interesting facts. So if anyone is interested in reading, these two researchers' results, you are more than welcome to contact the studio, and we would be happy to fill you in. And we're always happy to take your questions. We always have our open questionnaire line for you, which just make sure you text in or enter yourself in, and we will be happy to answer any of your questions. And I assume our guests would be too. And we're going to be right back after a very short break and a word from our sponsors.